We begin this edition of WION Dispatch with the United Kingdom, where the refurbishment of Prime Minister's Downing Street flat has gripped Westminster. The British elections watchdog has launched a probe into how Boris Johnson funded the controversial refurbishment to his Downing Street flat. Now, the Electoral Commission believes that there were reasonable grounds to suspect multiple offences may have been committed. The investigation comes amid growing questions over how and when Prime Minister's refurbishment of his flat was funded. There have been reports that Johnson was given a donation or loan for the bill before he paid it off himself. The reports claim that a Conservative donor and payer donated £58,000 to help foot the bill for redecorations at the number 10 residence in the Downing Street, and Tory party has not denied these reports yet. The elections watchdog escalated its involvement an hour before Prime Minister's question session at the Parliament, and Boris Johnson had this to say.
I've conformed in full with the code of conduct, with ministerial code, and officials have been have been advising me throughout this whole thing. But I think people will think it absolutely bizarre that he is focusing on this issue, when what people want to know is what plans the Labour government might have to improve the life of people in this country. And let me tell you, if he talks about housing again, we're helping people on the house. I'd rather not spend taxpayers' money, by the way, like the last Labour government, which spent £500,000 of taxpayers' money on the Downing Street flat.
The British Prime Minister has denied any wrongdoing in Downing Street flat makeover. The refurbishment is one of the numerous allegations that have gripped Westminster in recent weeks. After leaks about the lavish work were reported in British newspapers, there has been speculation that the bill could have been as much as £200,000. It has been reported that Conservative headquarters paid the Cabinet Office to cover the initial costs, and now the Prime Minister is repaying it. The setup raises questions about reputable donations or loans, as well as tax obligations in the UK. And our correspondent Ollie Barrett joins us live from London. Thank you so much for joining us. The Electoral Commission believes that there were reasonable grounds to suspect multiple offences may have been committed. What can you tell us about that?
That's exactly what the Electoral Commission say, yes, in a statement announcing that there is now a formal investigation into the makeover of the Downing Street flat. The Electoral Commission confirming that it's been in discussions, in conversations with the Conservative Party since late March about all this, but it does say it's now satisfied that there are reasonable grounds to suspect that an offence or offences may have occurred with respect to transactions around the works at number 11 Downing Street, which is the residence in which Boris Johnson lives with his fiancée Carrie Simons and their son. Now, if the Electoral Commission were to find that there had been actual offences here and were able to prove them, then it has the possibility of levelling fines against either Boris Johnson or the Conservative Party, whoever it finds at fault, of up to £20,000. It can even recommend police action as well if it feels that is necessary. But at this stage, it is simply saying that the investigation is now underway and it won't be commenting any further until conclusions have been reached.
All right, and also, like I mentioned, this raises questions about tax obligations in the UK. What can you tell us on that?
It potentially does, yes. One of the questions about the funding of this flat is that Boris Johnson has not answered fully exactly the process that took place in terms of the funding and who first paid the first invoices. Boris Johnson is simply saying at this point that he is paying the bill for the wider refurbishment of the Downing Street residence, but he has not directly answered the question about whether initially a Conservative Party donor may have paid some or all of the invoices, or whether indeed a loan came via the Conservative Party itself. And so there are still lots of outstanding questions, and if there were indeed some kind of loan taking place, that would raise questions, as you say, about tax obligations for potentially Boris Johnson or indeed the UK Conservative Party. The Conservative Party itself is saying in response to this that we believe all reportable donations have been transparently and correctly declared and published by the Electoral Commission. The Conservative Party saying we will work constructively with the Commission on this matter. And as I say, Boris Johnson's only comment really at this point is to clarify that he believes he's followed all the rules, declared everything up to this point that he needs to declare, and he says he's paying for the entire refurbishment himself.
All right, Ollie, thank you so much for joining us with all those updates.